When his parents lose their lives to an evil tiger, a human boy is raised by wolves and must become a warrior to rid the forest of Shere Khan's domination. Today we're going to recap the story of the movie, Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle, from 2018. After Shere Khan attacks a human village, all the inhabitants are wiped out except for one baby, who has been hidden by his mother in the top of a tree. Seeing the boy alone in the forest, Bagheera decides to rescue him before the tiger finds him and takes the boy to a pack of wolves, as he knows that there he will have a better chance of survival. As soon as they meet Mowgli, Nisha and Vihan are enchanted by him, but they soon receive an unwelcome visit from Tabaki, who has been attracted by the child's scent. Determined to protect the boy, the wolves drive the hyena out of its den and Tabaki runs to tell Shere Khan that there is a human boy living with the wolves. Immediately, Nisha goes to talk to Akela and calls the council together to vote to keep Mowgli. With the help of Bagheera and Baloo, who are friends of the pack, Nisha and Vihan manage to convince the council to accept the human boy as a member of their family. However, minutes later, Shere Khan appears to claim possession of Mowgli, but he is injured, so the wolves manage to drive him away and protect the boy. Years have passed and Mowgli has become a teenager. From a very young age, he learns to hunt with Bagheera, who knows that he needs to prepare the boy to take care of himself. After hunting lessons, the boy meets Baloo to learn the laws of the jungle and how to survive the attacks of the animals that live there. Although he loves his pack, Mowgli doesn't understand why he is different from all the other wolves and watches from afar as a village of men lives nearby. The boy realized that he looked very similar to those people, but he had always been told not to go near them. His best friend is an albino wolf called Boot. As they are both different from the rest of the pack, they decide to team up and create a strong friendship that transcends their individualities. The next morning, Mowgli and his younger wolf brothers join forces to receive another lesson from Baloo, who enlists the help of Bagheera to hunt them down. Soon, the youngsters will have to pass a test in which their goal will be to escape from the panther. Those who fail are considered incapable and will end up being expelled from the pack. However, Baloo says that he has never had a student fail and says that he doesn't intend to now. So he helps the wolves practice, but Mowgli ends up lagging behind and decides to stop for a drink of water during the race. Just then, he spots a monkey, who uses a piece of fruit as bait to attract the boy's attention. While trying to catch the star fruit, Mowgli is scolded by Baloo, who forbids him to go near the monkeys because they are completely unpredictable. According to the bear, monkeys are foolish and aren't afraid of anything, except Kaa, the most dangerous snake in the forest. Legend has it that the python is as old as the jungle and can see into the past and the future. During the conversation, the pair spot a perished ox with thousands of mosquitoes around it and Baloo orders Mowgli to turn around. Seeing the claw marks on the trunk of a tree, the bear soon realizes that it was Shere Khan's doing and, hours later, holds a meeting with the pack. At this point, Baloo reveals that the tiger has left a warning for the wolves and the pack begins to discuss the possibility of expelling Mowgli from the pack, as they believe the boy will put them all in danger. While considering what to do with Mowgli, Akela goes to talk to the boy's adoptive parents and reveals that Shere Khan wants to wage war against him. The leader of the wolves is getting older, so the tiger plans to take advantage of this opportunity to spread chaos. Knowing that Shere Khan will not stop until he devours Mowgli, Bagheera suggests that the boy be taken to the men's village, as this is the best chance they have of protecting him. However, Akela has other plans for the boy. More and more humans are taking over the forest and, if this continues, there will come a time when Mowgli will be the only hope for the animals that live there. So the leader orders Baloo to prepare the boy to be a wolf and help him pass the pack's final exam. The next day, instead of teaching Mowgli to move like a wolf, Baloo realizes that it will be more effective to teach him to use his arms to move through the trees. Despite falling several times, the boy soon shows progress in using his new skills and proves to be an excellent apprentice. After training, the boy goes for a swim in a lake and decides to dive in to swim with the fish. Just then, Shere Khan appears to get a drink of water and Mowgli despairs. Seeing the tiger, the boy uses his feet to hold onto a log at the bottom of the lake and waits for the tiger to leave. He then runs off through the forest and ends up being followed. Luckily, the boy falls into a trap set by the men, but doesn't get hurt. Minutes later, he is rescued by an elephant with one of its tusks broken and Bagheera shows up to check that the boy is okay. Together, they return to the pack and, during the night, the panther shows Mowgli a group of men who have gone there to eliminate the tiger that stole their cattle. That night, Bagheera says that the jungle is no longer safe for the boy and tells him that his best chance of survival is to go to the human village. When he discovers that it is a man pup, Mowgli is shocked. He doesn't accept what the panther is saying and claims to be a wolf. Curious to learn more about humans, the boy decides to observe them at night and spots Tabaki. As he approaches the fire, The hyena ends up getting hurt, and Mowgli realizes that those flames can be used as a weapon. In the morning, the day finally comes for Mowgli to prove himself worthy of becoming a member of the pack, and he joins the other young wolves to start the race. As soon as the start is made, the group begins to run, and Mowgli decides to separate himself from the other wolves, as he knows he can never outrun them. Instead of betting on his speed, the boy takes some shortcuts to reach the finish line and uses his arms to climb. When Bagheera approaches, Mowgli hides inside the trunk of a tree and climbs to the top to finish the race more easily. However, just as the boy was about to finish the journey, the panther manages to capture him and, as expected, the boy is expelled from the pack. Furious, Mowgli decides to flee and runs alone through the forest. Minutes later, he meets the monkeys and decides to ignore Baloo's advice. While trying to get the fruit, the boy ends up being captured, and Boot, who was looking for his friend, sees him being taken away. After the race, Baloo questions Bagheera about why the feline has made Mowgli his only target during the race, and they end up fighting. During the fight, the panther explains that he had to do it to get the boy to agree to go to the men's village, because only then will he be safe. As the two friends exchange bites and paws, Boot appears and informs them that Mowgli has been captured by monkeys. On hearing this, the pair immediately forget their differences and go after the boy. At that moment, Mowgli is being taken prisoner to the baboon's hideout, where Shere Khan is waiting for him. The boy is passed out when the tiger uses its claws to cut the skin off his arm. The feline is about to devour him when Baloo and Bagheera appear and invade the cave. The monkeys quickly join forces to attack them and manage to immobilize the pair. Both Mowgli and his friends are about to perish when Kaa appears and orders Shere Khan to stay away from the man-pup. After returning Mowgli to Baloo and Bagheera, the python leaves and the trio go to the lake to treat their wounds. As he lies under the water, the boy wonders why the snake came to save him, but he can't find the answer. The next day, Mowgli is accepted back into the pack so that he can recover before leaving, and Boot, as usual, is always around to try and cheer him up. However, this time, the albino wolf ends up hearing harsh words from his friend and is extremely hurt. When Boot leaves, Mowgli regrets what he said and realizes that he was only taking out his frustrations on the young wolf. In search of answers, he decides to go to Kaa's hideout and asks why the snake saved him from the monkeys. At this point, the python reveals that it did this for the same reason that led the elephant to save it from the trap. According to her, the creatures of the jungle have been watching Mowgli because he is predestined to rule over all the animals that live there. Meanwhile, Akela and the adult wolves of the pack go out hunting and chase a deer, but fail to catch any prey. When the group returns to the pack, the leader spots Shere Khan, who has brought some cattle as a gift for the wolves. In this way, he convinces the pack that Akela is not strong enough to remain leader and manages to create a mutiny. At this point, Akela is challenged by his own pack members and says that whoever manages to defeat him will be the new leader. Suddenly, Mowgli appears and tries to interfere in the fight, but is stopped by Baloo, who says that this is the law among wolves. Looking around, the boy spots Shere Khan, and his first instinct is to run far away from the predator. The young man then runs to the men's village to pick up a burning branch and returns to the wolves' den. When he sees Akela wounded waiting for the next challenger, the boy decides to use fire to defend him and prevents the other wolves from getting closer. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Mowgli gathers all his courage and threatens to set fire to Shere Khan if he appears there again. After the tiger flees, Akela orders the boy to leave because he used the men's weapons against the wolves of his pack. Unable to believe that he is being expelled for the second time, Mowgli looks to his parents and his friends for support, but no one there can help him. That night, while running through the forest, the boy is surrounded by a group of hunters and taken to the men's village against his will. After being hit on the head, the boy faints and, when he wakes up, realizes that he is trapped inside a cage. Frightened and afraid of what those people might do to him, Mowgli tries to escape and uses the weight of his own body to try to destroy the metal bars. Hours later, when Mowgli is exhausted, John the hunter brings him a plate of food, but Mowgli is unable to eat it. As he has lived in the jungle since childhood, he has never eaten anything like it, so he prefers to starve. That night, Mowgli receives a visit from Bagheera and is overjoyed, believing that the panther is there to save him. It's not long before the boy realizes that his friend has no intention of taking him back to the forest, as he knows it's safer for him to stay in the village. Before leaving, Bagheera advises Mowgli to make an effort to learn the ways of men and promises that everything will work out. During the conversation, the feline reveals that he grew up among men and lived on a leash inside a king's palace. Bagheera lived in a cage like that to serve as an attraction for humans until the day he managed to escape into the jungle. This was only possible because he gained the men's trust, so if he ever wants to be free of that cage, Mowgli needs to do the same. After saying these words, the panther returns to the forest and, in the morning, John Lockwood, the man who took the boy to the village, decides to free him. When he wakes up, the boy realizes that his cell is open and decides to go out. At that moment, he finds John cutting up an animal he has hunted and the man teaches him how to handle a knife. In this way, the boy is finally able to feed himself and John tries to befriend him. Seeing the scar on Mowgli's arm, the man soon realizes that he has been attacked by a tiger, which means that they both have the same enemy. After breakfast, Mowgli is taken to a tent and meets Mesua. The woman calmly helps him to bathe and dress. Little by little, Mowgli learns to live among humans and makes friends with the people in the village. With John's help, he learns to hunt and receives a dagger as a gift. Weeks later, Mowgli receives a visit from his brother and discovers that Shere Khan has taken over the pack. Thanks to the support of some wolves, he became leader and those who decided to remain loyal to Akela had to leave. The wolf then asks for his brother's help to rid his people of the tiger, but Mowgli refuses to interfere because he still harbors sorrows about the day he was expelled. That day, a big party takes place in the village and Mowgli is extremely happy to feel that he is finally part of a big family that accepts him for who he is. As he sits with some men around a campfire, the boy sees John being questioned about when he will catch the tiger, because the animal has already eliminated countless cows in the village. In his defense, the hunter says that the feline is very clever and always covers its tracks, which is why it hasn't been captured yet. Even so, John is sure that he will be able to catch him soon and Mowgli decides to help him on this mission. However, the man is too drunk to walk on his own, so the boy helps him to his tent. After putting John to bed, Mowgli decides to take a look at his collection of wild animals and discovers that his friend, Boot, has been eliminated by the hunter. That night, the boy can't sleep because he spends all his time thinking about his dear friend who has been eliminated by human hands. Furious, Mowgli decides to eliminate John and sneaks into his tent. At that moment, he spots the tusk of the elephant that saved him and decides to make a deal with the animal. After returning the ivory to its true owner, the boy promises that he will take it to the hunter who stole his tusk, but first the elephant will have to help Mowgli rid the jungle of Shere Khan's rule. The boy then goes after his friends to ask them to join him on the hunt. However, Akela says that he would rather perish than break the laws of the jungle, so Mowgli realizes that he will have to act without their help. With a dagger in his hand, the boy approaches the wolves' den to challenge the tiger while Bagheera tries to convince Akela to help him. When Shere Khan and Tabaki, his faithful squire, appear, Mowgli starts shouting and calls the elephants to surround his enemy. Realizing that his master is at a disadvantage in this battle, the hyena abandons him and decides to flee. Desperate, the tiger tries to use his menacing roar to scare off the elephants, but soon realizes that there is nowhere to escape. Hearing the animal's roars, the villagers come closer to find out what's going on and everyone is terrified to see a herd of elephants clustered around Shere Khan. After piercing the tiger with his dagger, Mowgli jumps on him, but is soon knocked down and becomes the feline's prey. Furious, Shere Khan tries to eliminate the boy with his claws, but Mowgli manages to dodge his attacks and climbs a tree to escape his enemy. While trying to reach him, the tiger ends up getting stuck between the branches, so the boy takes the opportunity to retrieve his dagger and slash him once again. At that moment, he is surprised by the sound of a gunshot and informs the elephant that it is the hunter who has stolen his tusk. When they realize that Mowgli is in danger, Baloo, Bagheera and the wolves decide to interfere in the battle and help the boy. At that moment, Shere Khan is trying to escape, but is caught by the hunter, who decides to shoot him. However, instead of hitting the tiger, it is Mowgli who ends up being hit and is about to be devoured when John fires the second shot. Just then, Akela appears and jumps on the tiger at the same time as the hunter is crushed by the elephant. When the tiger gets up, Mowgli realizes that it was Akela who was shot. Seeing the boy's friends approaching, Shere Khan decides to retreat and Akela asks for forgiveness for having doubted Mowgli. The animal says that it is now time for the wolf boy to lead and entrusts his beloved pack to the boy. These words serve to encourage Mowgli to fulfill his mission and, when the boy picks up the dagger, everyone comes closer to see what will happen. For the first time, men and animals come together to witness a great event and even Kaa decides to be present. Seeing Shere Khan trying to run away, Mowgli goes after him and kneels down in front of him. At that moment, the tiger once again tries to eliminate the boy and uses his claws to slash him. However, Mowgli manages to act quickly and moves away. He then strikes the tiger's neck with his blade and frees it from its hatred once and for all. Immediately, the creatures of the forest come forward to greet their new ruler. With the elimination of the tiger and the hunter, the future of the jungle is lifted out of the darkness and begins to shine. Under the protection of Mowgli, the wolf boy, men and animals will have the chance to live in harmony during a long reign of peace. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.